Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Stylish Naija YouTube channel. I want to say thank you to all of my subscribers. Okay, guys, so in today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to cut a six pieces skirt, but it is going to be a butt cut. So, butt cut are skirts that has a place to accommodate and those that have bigger butts. So, it is really good. This kind of skirt pattern, it actually helps to give the butts kind of lifts. So let's just get started. So please like those videos, subscribe if you have not done so. Okay, guys, so I the first thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut the center front first. So in cutting the center front, I already have the length of my fabric or for the skirt, which is 35 inches. So the next thing I'm going to consider in folding this middle part, I'm going to consider how wide do I want the center part of my skirt, okay? So for this, you can see I'm using about 9 inches. So it depends on what you want. You can make it as wide as you want, okay? So normally, if I want a very full skirt, most times I can go as much as 13 inches, okay? And then I have some couple of lines here. So this first line here is my waistline, and then this line is my hip line, and then I have my knee line, and then of course the full length of the skirt. So the next thing that you put into consideration, like I said, this center part, this part now is a constant, as in what I mean by constant, as in now we have not started imputing the measurement of our skirt. So this part is just like a added part into our six pieces, okay? So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to use my dart lines. So the dart lines, that's half of my dart measurement. So for the dart that I'm going to be using for this piece, I'll come to the waistline like this. Like I said, the waistline, the hip line, and then the knee line. So I'm going to use 8 inches. So that 8 inches, most times I really don't like my skirt too wide. So 8 inches is just ideal for the center front, the top part. Okay. So I'll mark 4 inches because my fabric is divided into two. So I'll divide it into two. I'll mark it here, and then I'll come to the hip line. When I come to the hip line also, I'll mark the same 4 inches here, and then I'll come to the knee line. So there's something I normally do to give my skirt one very beautiful shape. When I get to the knee line, I'll reduce it by just take out half of an inch from it. So it's going to be like this. And then the next thing now, I'm going to connect all these lines together like this. So it's almost like a straight line because this is the center front. And then once it gets to this part, it has a little bit of curve, just a little bit. And then the next thing I'm going to do now, from this point, I'm going to lay this to the down part of my skirt, okay? So this is what will give your skirt a very beautiful shape. So I'll just lay this like this to this part, and then this part I'm going to just curve it a little bit. Okay, so the next thing now, I'm going to cut this up. So for the down part, I actually have not trimmed it, okay? So I'll cut this out now. So this is my center front. So you can see how beautiful it is. It's a very simple process. The next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut out the side. Because this is a butt cut, normally what I normally do, after cutting out the center front, I'll use it to cut out the back. The only thing that I'll add to it is my zip allowance. But for now, I'm not going to cut out the back because the essence of this tutorial is the back piece. So the next thing I'm going to do now, I'm going to cut out the side of my skirt. So like I said, that I've been using, if I don't want to use my if I don't want to use a pattern to cut out my skirt, I normally use this and it works perfectly well. So the side of the skirt now, this is the side. So for the side, I'm going to use about 12 inches. So when doing this part, you need to put some things into consideration. So just make sure you check. So next thing, we're going to input our lines again. The first line is our waistline, and then the next thing we'll add now is our hip line, okay? And then we'll add our knee line, and then the full length of our skirt, okay? It is a very simple process, like I normally say for those of you that have been following me. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take this piece, this center piece that I cut out. A six pieces skirt is a very simple and easy skirt. And then I'm just going to place it here like this. So what I'm trying to achieve now, I'm trying to get this because this is going to stitch on it. So what I'm trying to achieve now from what I'm doing now, I'm trying to get the shape of the side. So when I'm stitching it, it's going to be the same. So I'll just place it a little bit, just like let it come upon it. You see upon it? Let it come on it like half of an inch. And then I'll use it to trim, just to like trace out this part like this, okay? So now I'm tracing out the edge of my skirt. You can see what I'm doing. So I'm trying to get the shape of my skirt, okay? So you can see I've gotten out that shape now of the skirt, okay? After getting that out, so I'll take it out and then I'm going to place this like this. Now we're going to take out our full body measurement. It's very simple process. So I just want to double check my camera. Okay, so everything is okay. So the next thing now, the measurement that I showed you earlier, we're going to impute those measurements. Now we're bringing in our full skirt measurement, our waist measurement, our hip measurement, our knee measurement, okay? So the next thing, your measurement now, what you are going to do, because you have already cut this out, now your measurement, you are going to just divide your measurement into four because you have placed everything on the table now, like it is folded into two, you understand? It's just everything is placed, the skirt is placed. So divide all of your measurement now into four and then you measure from this end to this end. You can see how simple it is. So your waist measurement, what you are going to do, you divide your waist measurement into four and then I'm going to add the measurement here and then I'll add allowance on it, because note this part, you can see it is lapping on it just like about half of an inch, because that's what you are going to use to stitch it. So that's how it is placed. So after putting that, you have added that. The next thing now, you are going to mark your hip measurement. So your hip measurement, you are going to divide your hip measurement into four. You mark it, and then you add your stitching allowance. So that is what you're like literally doing now. You add it, and then your knee measurement. So like I normally say, your knee, take your tape and then measure around your knee how wide you want it to be, okay? Another thing that you can do, you can, from your hip measurement, you can take out 2 inches. That works, that also works very fine. But most times when I'm cutting the six pieces, I always don't like doing that. When the knee is slim, and if you watch most of these pictures on Instagram, even the one I showed you earlier, you find out that the knees of the skirt, they are usually a little bit slim. So that is what actually brings out the beauty. Okay, so with that, I usually don't reduce my knee measurement. What I will do, I will reduce. I usually don't take out 2 inches. I take out as much as 3 inches. Okay. So for instance, now what I have here now is 12 inches. So instead of me to use 10, I'm going to use 9 inches. But normally you can just take out 2 inches. Okay. So that's what I'm trying to explain. And then I'll add my stitching allowance to it. So all of these lines now, we are going to go ahead and connect them. So I'll use my pattern curve to make it easy, like this. So you connect them like this and then you take this like this, so you can see the shape of the skirt. You see how beautiful the skirt is looking. So the next thing you're going to do now, I'm going to come to this part now and then I'm going to flay out my skirt from this down part. After flaying out my skirt, the next thing I'm going to do, so for the down part of my skirt, I'm just going to explain this, even though I'm not going to cut this out. So I'm going to come to this part like this. You can come in by 1 inch or 1.5 and then just do this like this. Just like give it a curve so that the skirt is not looking standing straight, okay? So the next thing, so let's just do that. You can see how simple and easy it is. So I'm going to open up my skirt now for you to see our 6 pieces skirt. Simple, easy process of cutting out a 6 pieces butt cut skirt. So you can see. So now we are done with our front piece. The next thing we want to do, you can see how full already this skirt is looking. Even though I used minimal measurement, you can see it is full already. So the next thing we're going to do now, we're going to cut out the back, which is the essence of this. Okay, guys, so this is the center back. So I folded my fabric again into two. So the next thing, normally I'm going to explain how normal cut is. So when you're cutting a normal 6 pieces skirt without a butt cut, this is how you place your fabric. like this. You're just going to take the center back, you place it like this, and then add a zip allowance to the back piece like this, like your normal 2 inches allowance, and then you just cut out everything like this. But when you are making a butt cut, like I said, the essence of the butt cut is to help lift the butt. So this is very important when you are making dresses for people that are really that have butts. I don't know if I want to say butty or so so you can see I'm shifting my fabric a little bit, so I need a little bit of allowance, so this will help the butt to sit properly. So we're adding back all of our lines, our hip line, our knee line, and our waistline. So now what I'm going to do now, the whole tutorial is around this hip area, so I need as much as 3 inches, so you can see, which is okay. So I'm going to come to my waist part. I'll use my normal allowance, which is my 1.5 inches. That's what I normally use, or 2 inches is okay for my zip allowance. So I've marked it here like this. And then I'm going to come to this butt area. So for this, my butt area, I'm not going to use that one. Sorry, I'm not going to use my 1.5 inches. I'm going to use as much as 2.5 or 3 inches. Depends on how butty my, if there's a word like that, my client is. So I'll mark that. So for this, I'm using about 2.5 inches, which I'll mark here on that hip line note. And then I'm going to come back to my knee line. On my knee line, I'm going to come back with my normal allowance of 1.5 inches. I'm going to mark it like this. So the next thing now that we want to do now, we want to connect our lines. So now, when connecting these lines, this is how it's going to look. It's not, obviously it's not going to be straight again. So now I'm going to mark it like this, and then I would mark it like this. I remember when I was learning how to sew, most times when they cut this, I would like, this place is looking like it's curved. It used to confuse me, but so you can see. So you can see the way the shape is. You can see this part now. This is what we, when the bomb bomb enter inside, it will lift. Okay, so the next thing that I want to do now is my 1 inch, my 1.5 inch of my allowance. I'm just going to maintain it straight, just the way we normally cut, add our zip allowance. So you can see what we have here. It is a simple and a beautiful. When you make a skirt like this, the skirt comes out beautiful on the butt area. So I've marked that part, so I've cut that part out, and then the next thing now, so now we want to cut this out now. So after cutting, you can notch all of your points, that knee, hip part, and then the knee part, just give them notches. So the next thing now that is remaining, so this is our back piece, and then you add your zip allowance note so you don't get confused. Okay, so this is, you can see how the butt is looking. Can't you see that it looks curvy? So the next thing that is remaining is for us to cut our center, that's our back pieces, the side of the back. So like I said, it's the same thing that we're going to cut with what we cut for the beginning part. So it's the same thing that you are going to cut. So I'm going to just place them. Okay, so the table is not wide enough, so I'm just going to use just one piece to demonstrate this for you guys, how you go about the stitching. So this is how I normally stitch. So my 6 pieces skirt, when I'm stitching, I normally start from the top. So I just stitch it like this, and then I'll take the other piece also, and then I will stitch. So now I'm going to take this center out, and then we're going to bring in our pieces here. So this is how it's going to stay now. So you can see. So you see the hip part of the skirt is curving. It's not straight. So I'll stitch it like this. So when I have time, if you want to see how to stitch it, you can let me know. If I have time, I'll just come back. So someone actually requested for this tutorial some time ago. Okay, so and then you just stitch it, and then this back now will stitch it, and then you are going to have that broad curve on it. Okay, guys. So thank you so much. I have now come to the end of this tutorial. Please, if you find this video helpful, please hit on the like button, and if you have not subscribed to my channel already, I would appreciate for you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you in my